over others. That's my own personal opinion. But let's say you don't agree with that opinion, no problem. Then it should be one or the other. It should be either nobody gets out, or then you have to let out certain people who meet a threshold. You can't tell me that a terrorist meets a more conservative threshold than an Italian American being charged with RICO. It's impossible. And you can't tell me a terrorist poses less of a danger to society than an Italian being charged with RICO. You cannot tell me that. And I don't believe anybody who has common sense and thinks logically would believe that. So what would be the basis that one would get it and one would not? One who's a terrorist would get it and one who isn't a terrorist would not. I can't wrap my head around that for the life of me. And it's completely acceptable. People don't talk about it. You have to read about these things. And when you read about them, you don't believe it. And there's really no distinction. They don't give any rationale behind it. They'll just deny the individual. When somebody goes for the release, if they're charged with RICO, if they're alleged to be part of an organization, they've been getting denied left and right. And if they have more serious, I would think there's more serious health concerns and health risks than being overweight. You have a lot of these individuals have diabetes. They're very old. They have a lot of health ailments affecting their well-being. So if they did get COVID, it'd be a problem. And yet, a terrorist who's overweight superseded all of that, and he gets let out. And again, don't take my word for it. Just research it. Go on the web and put in those keywords. It's out there. And you could look up several of those compassionate releases that took place with a lot of various crimes. I just don't understand how these crimes trump certain crimes. When you have somebody who's an elderly individual, specifically, who's charged with gambling, but it was part of RICO and he was Italian, he got denied. But it was gambling was the charge. But it was a RICO charge. He gets denied. And this person had all kinds of health ailments. I mean, serious situations, blood clots, diabetes. He's in his 80s, and he gets denied. I believe he has 2 years left, and he gets denied, but the terrorist gets out. You see things like that, and it's very frustrating because it really does show how one-sided this system can be. And the bigger names and the bigger targets and the bigger headlines get treated differently. And I talk about it all the time. You don't have to agree with me, but if you believe in justice, you do have to believe that everybody should be treated equally. Everybody should get the same rights. Everybody should get the same opportunities equally and go through the justice system in the same manner. One should not go through the exact same system and be subjected to harsher conditions and harsher rulings based on reasons that have nothing to do with the justice system and how the law works. Instead, they have to do with race, or it has to do with their ethnicity. That's not the system we should be involved in. That is not the system we're supposed to be involved in, is what I should say. That is not what the Constitution was written for. And I don't know how many times I have to say it about Lady Justice being blind and how all we're asking for is justice for all. I could give you quote after quote after quote, and all those quotes sound great, and people put them up on their social media, including my firm will put those quotes up. But if they're not followed through on, they're meaningless. They don't mean anything. And people need to understand that. Whether you don't like a certain group of people, whether you don't agree with charges, the law has to treat everybody fairly. For example, I don't agree that pedophiles should be let out on any kind of compassionate release. Okay? And that may sound hypocritical. And it is. But guess what? I'm not making those choices. I'm not making those choices because to me there is a scale. And pedophiles are on the bottom of it. They don't get any lower. Rapists are all on the bottom of it. So to me, I would look at things a lot differently. But I know that about myself, so I don't make those decisions. So that's why I'm not a judge. I'm not in a position to make those choices. I don't have to. I'm not controlling somebody's life. But if you sign up to be a judge, or you sign up to go by the law, you can't have that gauge that I have. You have to go by the law. You can't let emotions affect you. You have to rule logically. And I'm very self-aware that there's certain things I can't rule logically on. I can't judge logically. I hear charges like that, and I see charges like that affecting kids, affecting women. I cannot make a rational decision on it. But I'm self-aware about it, and I'm accountable. And thankfully, I don't make those choices, so people don't have to worry about it. They could say, oh, well, he's not fair in that sense. That's right. I'm not fair when it comes to that. It is what it is. Is it a fault? Maybe. Maybe it is to some people. But I'm honest about it. I'm not, I don't try to be untruthful. I don't try to paint it a different way. I believe those making those decisions need to be a better person than I am when it comes to following the law. They need to go by justice. They need to go by the law as blind, and they need to make the decision based on the facts. Based on if somebody's immune system's compromised, whatever it is to determine if somebody's eligible for that compassionate release, it has to be across the board. When you see them start picking and choosing terrorists over RICO charges and pedophiles over RICO charges, I can't wrap my head around that. And it's like I said earlier, it's either all or nothing. Those who put that robe on, they have to understand they're at a higher level than people like myself who would be swayed by personal emotions and would be swayed by personal beliefs.